There are some who feel like that, the conditions are such that they can attack us there. My answer is bring them on.
So I hear the voices, and I read the front page, and I know the speculation, but I'm the decider, and I decide what is best, and what's best is for Don Rumsfeld to remain as the Secretary of Defense. There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again. I hope we're not headed to war in Iraq. I'm the person who gets to decide, not you.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
It is a way to bring people together so that they share their responsibilities. All of us must work hard to fight against terror. All options, of course, are always on the table for any president. I appreciate the fact that the quartet is working on what we call a roadmap, and I want to thank you all for joining us. And as the Secretary of State said, it's a long way from there. First look that Saddam Hussein hadn't heard the message. I am strongly committed to the vision that I outlined on June the 24th. Must be committed to peace in order for us to achieve peace. In a way so that they're resolved peacefully. It is a way to bring people together so that they share their responsibilities. And I want to thank you all for joining us. That there be two states. The people in the neighborhood must assume their responsibilities, all nations, living side by side so that a few cannot deny the dreams of the many. Must be committed to peace in order for us to achieve peace. One thing is for certain. One of my New Year's resolutions is to work to deal with these situations and over the future for their children, because so that a few cannot deny the dreams of the many. As a part of the vision that I described, it is a way forward of what has been a long-standing conflict that we expect Mr. Saddam Hussein to disarm. We're assuming our responsibilities in order to achieve the vision. We are committed to its implementation in the name of peace.
As far as what the Iraqis have now agreed to do in order to allow U.S. troops to get out of their country, that sparked testy words between Chairman Senator Levin and Ranking Member Senator McCain.
We surely want to see the benchmarks the Iraqis have allegedly agreed to. And Senator McCain, perhaps you and I could send a letter today to the Secretary of State expecting those benchmarks to be delivered this week. We'll try again. We've been trying it very hard.
Well, as importantly, if we're going to exercise our oversight responsibilities, Mr. Chairman, we ought to have benchmarks. Maybe we could use some of those, maybe not.
Well, I think the first step would be to get the benchmarks the Iraqis have allegedly agreed to before. I have no problem in trying to work out benchmarks. In fact, both resolutions talk about benchmarks which are needed, benchmarks which have not been complied with in the past by the Iraqis, commitments they've made and have failed to keep. Everyone agrees that they ought to keep.
Well, if you want to look back, that's fine, Mr. Chairman. The fact is, I'm trying to look forward. I'm trying to stop from sending the wrong message to the men and women who are going to be at risk, some of them who are going to die, that we disapprove of their mission, but at the same time exercise the oversight responsibilities and the expectations that we as a Congress have and that the American people have, so they can have some comfort in what is going to happen, that we are exercising our legitimate responsibilities. Now, if your focus is on digging up what the old benchmarks are, fine. But I'd like to work with you on trying to set some parameters and benchmarks that can be passed by this Congress so that we could give the American people some confidence. And I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for...
We are not just focusing on old benchmarks. The President of the United States a few days ago said that the Iraqis are going to be held to the benchmarks they've agreed to. We want to know, as a starting point, what have the Iraqis agreed to? And you've agreed that you would join with me in terms of the message. We're going to argue over what the right message is, but I would think our troops and their families want us to use our best efforts to try to have a successful end to this matter.
Chairman, I think I'm familiar with the sentiment of many of the troops, and the fact is they want to win. And that's what they want, and that's why we're changing the strategy, Mr. Chairman, and I'm sorry you don't support the strategy.
Well, It's a strategy which has failed. And finally, the president acknowledged that he did not have a winning strategy. So I'm glad we have not, many of us, supported what has proven to be a failed strategy. I'm delighted the president has acknowledged that he wants to change that strategy. Finally, after 2 months ago saying we're absolutely winning in Iraq.
The world spoke clearly.
Is this police flap state investigation going to disqualify you from becoming Senator McCain's vice presidential candidate?
Well, it shouldn't disqualify me from anything, including progressing the state's agenda here towards more energy production. As for that VP talk all the time, I tell you, I still can't answer that question until somebody answers for me. What is it exactly that the VP does every day? I'm used to being very productive and working real hard in administration. We want to make sure that that VP slot would be a fruitful type of position, especially for Alaskans and for the things that we're trying to accomplish up here for the rest of the U.S. before I can even start addressing that question.
Floridians are concerned about the threat of radical Islamic extremism and their economic security. There's no one more qualified to meet our national security threats. I've been dealing with these issues my entire adult life. I'll make the Bush tax cuts permanent, reduce taxes on 25 million middle-class families, and veto wasteful government spending. There's no one who will work harder to protect our shores and protect your pocketbooks. So I defend with no reservation our proposal to offer the people who harvest our crops, tend our gardens, work in our restaurants, care for our children, and clean our homes a chance to be legal citizens of this country. They will have to earn it. They must come out from the shadows, pay their penalties, fees, taxes, stay employed, obey our laws, learn our language and history, and go to the back of the line and wait years for the privilege of being an American.